Jersey City police approach, guns drawn. One officer kicks him, then another, before the group of officers drags him into
An officer appears by the U.S. Attorney's Office for possible civil rights violations.
that piece. Sparkle the Pro Jeremiah Smith with the baton. Videos released today.
Brutality. Webster's dictionary defines it as a noun that is the quality or state of being brutal. A brutal act or course of action. Add police into the mix, and you got yourself a very controversial topic. Police brutality is the abuse of power by the police that branches into sexual harassment, assault, property damage, injury both of the physical and mental, and even death. It also falls near wrong accusations, unnecessary force, and racial injustice. It can be dated all the way back to 1872 when it was first used in the Chicago Tribune newspaper. It talked about the beating of a civilian who was under arrest at the Harrison Street police station. What about today?
An African-American woman was shot and killed by a white police officer while she was inside her own home. This incident marks the 9th police-involved shooting in Fort Worth just this year alone.
An officer then orders Shaver to crawl toward him. Shaver complies, but then moves his right hand behind him despite the warning. Officer Philip Mitchell Brailsford fires 5 rounds, killing Shaver.
And it doesn't look like he's being aggressive, but watch, a cop is about to go up and punch his lights out. Here comes the cop, and now watch. Does it look like he, boom, boom, and now to the ground he goes.
Police brutality is still prevalent today. Statistics from 2015, provided by mappingpoliceviolence.org, shows that the likelihood of an African American to get killed by police is much more significant. With it still being prevalent today, this brings in another role. What is the government doing? They aren't doing much. Then again, what type of government would take the credibility of their own mistakes? They don't want to be the ones at fault, and they definitely don't want their citizens thinking that either. They push away the topic as if it isn't the issue.
As we continue to have important discussions about police conduct, de-escalation, and the use of deadly force, those are essential discussions, and law enforcement will get better as a result. But we can't lose sight of the fact that there really are bad people standing on the street with guns. The young men dying on the streets of those cities that are seeing that dramatic spike are not committing suicide, they're not being shot by cops. They're being killed, police chiefs tell me, by other young men with guns.
When the issue is brought up by public figures like music artists who have experienced this issue themselves, they get denied as well.
It is a statement that I think is important because there are an awful lot of people who I think have been very innocently misled by this uniquely seductive and yet ultimately, in my view, unimportant music.
The president, on the other hand, does not have power over the police departments, as that is a power given to the states through the 10th Amendment. He only has the power to use that department in times of emergency through the Home Rule Act. What do people think?
The government has amputated that particular arm. So our armed self-defense was certainly about and against police brutality and murder in our communities, but it was also armed self-defense. We were always involved in trying to use this system as a way to manifest our demands. We didn't like the way the system operated because it was discriminatory, it was very violent, and it certainly, there were no equality of opportunity for African Americans.
Question your motivation or what you're really about as a police officer. If, hey man, you can't record me while I'm on duty, why not? First order of business when it comes to changing this system is accountability. Accountability, you need to be punished. When you violate the civil rights and civil liberties and the right to life of the citizens you're in service to, in violation of the Constitution and your own policy, punishment is the first order of the day.
People are angered by this issue. They want it to stop. But then it leads to more violence and it doesn't work out. So what should they do? There are already people out there who tried solving this issue with a non-violent means to an end. They created Campaign Zero. They branch it into multiple policies, but the one for this topic is the limit use of force. It brings in more restrictions, bans, and regulations for an officer and attempts to end police brutality. It is cheap and only needs support. So go out, speak out, fix 12.